This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. The Department of the Interior and Local Government filed a criminal complaint before the Office of the Ombudsman against Bureau of Fire Protection Chief Fire Director Jesus Fernandez over alleged kickbacks. Secretary John Vic Romero announced on Thursday, Fernandez is accused of receiving a total of 14.7 million pesos in kickbacks for the systematic manipulation of the Bureau's bidding for 132 ambulances when he was the chairperson of the Bureau's Bids and Awards Committee in 2024. These information were revealed by Romero in a press briefing in Quezon City. The BFP chief was lodged with a criminal case for direct bribery, malversation, conspiracy and violation of Section 3E of Republic Act No. 3019, and an administrative case for grave misconduct, serious dishonesty and conduct prejudicial to the service, Assistant Secretary Jesse Howard Lanit noted at the briefing. The charges were filed before the Office of the Ombudsman on Wednesday, Assistant Secretary Brian May Thomas clarified. Given this development, the DILG also requested the Ombudsman to preventively suspend Fernandez to ensure the integrity of the investigation, Lanit added. Thomas further noted that the case includes a second accused, a supplier whom he identified as businesswoman Rosaverna Sang of AutoZone Prime Distributors Incorporated. These are information we have gathered from the testimony of someone who personally witnessed the preparation of the SOP money as well as the handing of the same to Fernandez, Thomas explained. In all, we are confident that the information we have gathered is sufficient to charge Mr. Fernandez for administrative and criminal cases, he added. The procurement for the ambulances began on the 20th of September 24, according to Thomas. He alleged that Sangha had entered the bidding process through a joint venture with an automotive company, which he did not name, and was awarded the contract for the delivery of the ambulances. This was reportedly followed by a payout of 2 suitcases containing 6 million pesos and 4.7 million pesos to Fernandez at a Quezon City restaurant in November 2024, and another luggage containing 4 million pesos, Thomas detailed. The supplier herself gave the money to Fernandez, Lanit explained. Thomas noted that investigators have also acquired the affidavit of the manager of the automotive company involved, detailing the alleged scheme. The Enquirer is working to seek comment from both Fernandez and Sangha. It will publish their sides once available. It previously sought comment from Fernandez about the allegations against him via text message on 2 occasions, but he has yet to respond and address the accusations. Lanit noted that several John Does and Jean Does of the BAC at the time of the procurement are also under investigation, but they have yet to be included in the case. He said that investigators have yet to determine their level of participation in the alleged kickback scheme. Romero said his department, which supervises the BFP, had uncovered irregularities tied to the procurement process. This is just part 1 of the charges we will file against BFP officials. In the coming days, we've developed cases about bid rigging and procuring fire trucks, Romero pointed out. If you think this was big, what they did with the fire trucks was much larger. He gave an advanced description. The secretary earlier alleged that the bureau was able to amass 15 billion pesos annually through questionable practices, including compelling business owners to buy fire extinguishers from suppliers linked to fire inspectors, charging fees for complete firefighting services, and demanding money from applicants seeking to enter the agency. If you thought that money only goes to the regional director, it goes as far up as the chief of the BFP, Romero said. He previously singled out Fernandez, accusing the fire official of sending an emissary to a close friend to offer the secretary 1.5 million pesos in kickbacks for every fire truck sold to the BFP. The Enquirer has sought comment from Fernandez on the allegations several times, but he has yet to address the accusations. The BFP earlier expressed support for Romero's campaign against alleged corruption in the organization, saying it was a directive to confront the hard truths within the bureau. Another complaint has been filed against Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, along with 3 other health officials and employees, over alleged rigging in the procurement of mobile primary care facilities worth 1.8 billion pesos. The 9-page complaint was filed on Friday at the Office of the Ombudsman by a group of individuals who call themselves concerned DOH employees, the same group that had previously accused Herbosa of alleged irregularities. Also named as respondents were Health Undersecretary Glenn Matthew Bagao, whom the group said was the named head of the Health Facilities Enhancement Programs, Brigida Romualdez Aquino, the head executive assistant to the Secretary of Health, and Alan Tope, an executive assistant 6 also to the secretary. This time, The group asked the Ombudsman to investigate Hebosa and the other accused individuals for possible graft and violation of the new Government Procurement Act and its implementing rules and regulations over the serious irregularities surrounding the MPCF procurement. They also sought the respondents' preventive suspension, saying their continued presence in office poses a serious threat to the ongoing investigation. The complainants also accused Hebosa and the other respondents of conspiracy and bid rigging in the procurement of the MPCF, which they said contravenes the IRR of the new Government Procurement Act. The complaint explained that several red flags have been raised over the MPCFs across 83 provinces, and in the 20th of October 25 memorandum from one of the offices of the DOH revealed that only 25% of the distributed units were functioning well. It cited local reports that MPCFs in the provinces of Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, Davao de Oro, Davao Oriental, Davao Occidental, Bukidnon, Camiguin, Lanao del Norte, Misamis Occidental, and Misamis Oriental were non-functional, while those in Siquijor and Zamboanga del Norte lack the necessary reagents and trained personnel. The group alleged that Hebosa deliberately disregarded the red flags reported on the MPCF and that he personally directed Murillo to follow the terms of reference. Health Undersecretary Gregorio Murillo Jr. then transmitted the TOR, the purchase request, project procurement management plan, and the related procurement documents on November 7, 2025. For the acquisition of the MPCFs with an approved budget of 1.8 billion pesos, according to the complaint. Murillo then referred the same set of documents to the Health Facility Enhancement Program Management Office, which the complaint said evaluated the documents and found them consistent with previous reports of non-functionality of the MPCFs. Tope and Aquino, on November 12, 2025, endorsed to Murillo a market study on the technical specifications for the procurement of 150 units of fully equipped MPCFs, said the complaint, adding that the two attempted to modify the TOR with tailor-fitted lock specifications. The respondents, according to the complaint, indefinitely postponed the pre-procurement conference and even demanded a revision of the TOR, allegedly to match Hebosa's directives, instead of the HFEP technical team's upgraded version. The HFEPMO designed the TOR in a bid to resolve the deficiencies identified contained in the report by one of the DOH units, focusing on adult-only X-ray capabilities, the lack of reagents and the cramped workspaces for laboratories and X-ray procedures, with revisions proposed that include X-ray for children, guaranteed provision of reagents and an updated interior layout to optimize the limited workspace. The complaint read. It also said that Hebosa removed Murillo from his post since he chose to advocate for upgraded facilities that complied with safety and dignity standards, leading to Baguio to be appointed as head of the HFEPMO despite lacking any legitimate authority. They blatantly overstepped their bounds by intervening in the procurement process, substituting their own judgment and undermining the decisions of Undersecretary Murillo, according to the complaint. Rather than respecting the boundaries of his office, respondent Hebosa utilized his position to assert dominance over the procurement process, directing his most trusted aides, respondents Romualdez Aquino and Tope, to compel employees of the procuring entity to alter the terms of reference for the project. It also said, the Inquirer has reached out to Hebosa for his side on the matter, but has yet to respond as of posting. Operatives of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency 5, Bicol, arrested a female job order employee found in possession of more than 1.3 million pesos worth of suspected shabu during a buy-bust operation in Ligao City, Albay on Wednesday. The PDEA 5, in a report on Thursday, identified the arrested suspect only as alias Neff, 46, a job order employee of the Ginobatan town government in Albay. The suspect, classified as a high-value target, was caught during the operation with 200 grams of suspected shabu, the agency said in its report. The operation was led by PDEA 5's Regional Special Enforcement Team 1, with support from other PDEA teams and personnel from various provincial police units. The suspect in custody is currently facing charges for violating Republic Act 9165, also known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. A graft complaint has been filed against former Land Transportation Office Chief Vigor Mendoza, now chairman of the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, on the 169 pesos computer fee charged to public utility vehicles by Stratcom Corporation from 2025 to 2026. The complaint filed by the Federated Land Transport Organizations of the Philippines accused Mendoza of giving undue preference to the IT firm as it allowed Stratcom to collect fees from operators. The group asked the Office of the Ombudsman to issue a 90-day preventive suspension of Mendoza. It also sought the refund of the 169 pesos that was paid by millions of public utility vehicle operators since the 28th of January, 2025. FELTOP spokesperson June Barga said that the computer fee might be considered a small amount for some individuals, but it still adds up to the growing expenses of jeepney drivers and operators. Barga said he and his group could not understand why the computer fee was brought back by Mendoza, when earlier LTO chiefs already removed its implementation. Mendoza issued a statement. He said the complaint is not about accountability as it is a plain and simple desperation to get even. Our aggressive policy reforms geared towards fast and comfortable services when I was still in the LTO cut deep into the interests of some individuals and groups that they still feel the sharp and biting pain of the effects until now, and therefore, could not move on, he said. He added, nevertheless, I respect and welcome the decision of a self-proclaimed transport group to bring the matter to the Office of the Ombudsman since this is the proper forum to shed light into this old and recycled issue. A barangay councilor and his cohort were arrested in a buy-bust operation in Purok, San Jose 2, Barangay Dunlungsod, Oslob Town, on Friday evening, the 6th of March, 2026. The suspect was identified as Ernesto Sogaral Gumapan, alias Erning, 45 years old, married, a barangay councilor, and a resident of the said place. Gumapan was considered a high-value individual in the illegal drug trade. His cohort, Really Bryce Cain Rendon, alias Dodding, 23 years old, a resident of the said place, was also arrested during the operation. Police Major Alejandro Batabalanes, chief of Oslob Municipal Police Station, said the suspect was already included in the drug list of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and was placed under monitoring by the municipal drug enforcement units due to his illegal activity. During the buy-bust operation, a police undercover was able to purchase a small sachet of alleged illegal drugs worth 500 pesos. When the police arrested the suspect, they recovered 0.85 grams of alleged shabu from his possession worth 5,780 pesos. Batabalanes said that the barangay official has been involved in illegal drug trade for several years already and has been evading arrest by authorities. With his arrest, Batabalanes said that this will have a significant effect on the supply of drugs in the said barangay. He also expressed gratitude to residents in the said place for assisting the police in their campaign against illegal drugs. He also thanked the local government of Oslob for supporting their campaign against any form of crime in the town. 2 police officers and 3 other individuals were arrested on Saturday in a drug buy-bust operation in Taguig City, according to the Philippine National Police Drug Enforcement Group. The PDEG identified the arrested police officers as Police Corporal Dennis Lucido Escobar and Police Corporal Ralph Kenia Ligayan Barden, who are both presently assigned at the Taguig City Police. The 3 other arrested individuals were identified as Renzo Ordeneza, John Brian Vergancia, and Desiree Nebreo. The PDEG reported that the 5 individuals were arrested for violating the Section 5 Article 2 of the Republic Act 9165 or the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1972. The operation was conducted in Arca South in Taguig City at around 4:20 p.m. The PDEG added the 9mm caliber pistols issued to Barden and Escobar were recovered, as well as 100 grams of suspected shabu worth an estimated 680,000 pesos, 5 cellular phones, and various IDs. An officer assigned to the Provincial Police's intelligence unit was shot dead by an unidentified male perpetrator at the basketball court of a Giginto, Bulacan subdivision, the local police said. Identified as Police Master Sergeant Jose Uring, 50, the officer supposedly met with the Homeowners Association to discuss the election of their officers on Sunday night, according to a police report from the Giginto Municipal Police Station. While the victim was walking towards the tent of the rented mobile system, the suspect approached the victim from behind and shot Uring, hitting him at the back of his head, the municipal police explained. During the commotion, the suspect immediately fled, while some witnesses threw chairs at him, causing the latter to fire another shot at the crowd, hitting 54-year-old Joralina Cedera in her left knee, it added. Both victims were brought to the Giginto Polymedic Hospital, where Uring was declared dead on arrival, while Cedera began undergoing treatment. According to the police, the unidentified male perpetrator was last seen fleeing on foot in the subdivision, wearing a face mask, a black t-shirt and light-colored pants, and using a pistol of an unidentified caliber. Investigators have yet to release further details. Vice Mayor Jen Kapil began serving as mayor of Porac, Pampanga, on Monday, after her father, Jamie Jing Kapil, was suspended for 90 days due to graft related to operating a Philippine offshore gaming operator in the municipality. Myra Soriano, provincial director of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, said the agency served the 90-day preventive suspension order on Mayor Kapil last Friday. The order was issued in a resolution by acting presiding Judge Josephine Advento of Branch 265 of the Regional Trial Court in Pasig City on the 23rd of February. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission filed the criminal case, which includes 7 counts of graft for violating Republic Act No. 3019, or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Accused Kapil was charged with committing fraud when he gave unwarranted benefit, advantage, and preference to Lucky South 99 Outsourcing Incorporated by approving, issuing, and granting a mayor's business permit in favor of Lucky South 99 to operate as a POGO despite not being legally entitled to such permit. A portion of Advento's order read, Kapil had earlier argued that a preventive suspension was no longer necessary or reasonable. In the 20th of December 25, Kapil posted a cash bond of 630,000 pesos for his temporary liberty. Lucky South operated on a 10-hectare property leased by an affiliate firm from the Grand Palazzo Royal, located at the boundary of Angeles City and Porac. Kapil reportedly failed to conduct inspections despite reports of torture, financial scams, and prostitution. Facing 10 criminal cases of estafa with no bail, Pampanga board member Estelito Siwan Lim voluntarily surrendered on Monday morning to Vice Governor Dennis Delta Pineda at the provincial capital. Pineda, who serves as the presiding officer of the provincial board, immediately turned Lim over to Colonel Eugene Marcelo, provincial police director, who then handed him to Colonel Pearl Joy Golan, City of San Fernando police chief. At the police station, an Inquirer source said Lim was formally booked, with his mugshots and fingerprints taken, and also underwent a medical examination. The arrest warrant, dated the 18th of February, was issued by the Regional Trial Court, 3rd Judicial Region, Branch 44 in San Fernando City. Presiding Judge Mary Jean Bacara Buenaventura set no bail for 9 of the estafa cases and 48,000 pesos for another, according to court records. Lim, serving his first term, is accused by multiple complainants of failing to return capital and interest on investments made in his restaurants, shoe businesses, and other ventures. Records from the Securities and Exchange Commission indicate that his firm was not licensed to solicit investments. The board member also has pending warrants for other cases. This marks the first time a sitting Pampanga provincial board member has been arrested on criminal charges. Occidental Mindoro Representative Leo Diodf Tarila was charged with graft on Tuesday, the 10th of March, for allegedly receiving kickbacks from contractors Curly and Sarah Discare in several anomalous flood control projects. The complaint was filed before the Office of the Ombudsman by Radamilin Fernando Cardoza, a resident of the province, who claimed that Tarila was one of those mentioned by the contractor spouses during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing held on the 8th of September, 2025. Congressman Tarila could not be contacted for comment as of posting time. Cardoza said the Discare couple mentioned the name of Tarila multiple times in publicly reported proceedings as one of the lawmakers who requested or received commissions in connection with the bidding, award, or implementation of flood control infrastructure projects. Based on publicly accessible accounts of the hearing, the contractors asserted that the disputed commissions were characterized as a percentage of the overall contract value and were allegedly imposed to ensure the continuity or unimpeded processing of projects, notwithstanding that the authority to implement such projects lies with the Department of Public Works and Highways. Cardoza also said in the complaint, since Tarila has refuted the allegations, Cardoza said he made an effort to research on the infrastructure projects in Occidental Mindoro that he hopes the Ombudsman would look into. He said he uncovered 33 projects amounting to 3,277,636,746 pesos. Out of the 33 projects, Cardoza said there were 6 projects in San Jose involving 270,965,075 pesos, San Jose market involving 193 million pesos. Busuanga River Rizal involving 45 million pesos. 6 projects in Rizal worth 990 million and 91,969 pesos. 8 projects in Abradilog worth 812,589,667 pesos. And 11 projects in Sablan worth 965,990,033 pesos. Cardoza said he made formal requests for copies of public documents from the DPWH Occidental Mindoro District Office, but his requests were not acted upon. The absence of accessible documentation has constrained independent verification of project details, he said. Cardoza said, the complaint is submitted in good faith, with full regard for the constitutional rights of the respondent and the presumption of innocence. It is not intended to harass, malign, or prejudice any party, but solely to seek a lawful determination as to whether probable cause exists. Authorities in Central Luzon arrested 2 suspects in the fatal shooting of a police officer in Giginto, Bulacan, during coordinated hot pursuit operations on Tuesday, the 10th of March. Colonel Angel L. Garcelano, Bulacan Police Director, said the suspects were apprehended in separate operations in the towns of Bulacan and Obando less than 48 hours after the incident. Investigators identified the alleged gunman as a dismissed police officer previously assigned in Obando, while the other suspect served as the driver and cohort. Operatives from Giginto Municipal Police Station, Bulacan Provincial Intelligence Unit, PNP Investigation and Detection Management Unit, Bulacan and Obando Police Stations, 1st Provincial Mobile Force Company, PECU Bulacan, RSOG-3, and RIU-3 led the manhunt, which also resulted in the recovery of firearms, ammunition, a grenade, motorcycles, and other pieces of evidence. Police Region Office 3 Director Brigadier General Jess B. Mendez credited the swift arrest to strong coordination among police units. The victim, Police Master Sergeant Jose Uring, was shot at close range at a basketball court in Barangay Panjanay, Giginto, Bulacan, during the caucus of the Brooklyn Heights Homeowners Association on Sunday evening, the 8th of March. Uring was a member of the Bulacan Provincial Intelligence Unit and was in his 2nd year as president of the Homeowners Association. Jorilyn Acedera, 54, a resident of the subdivision, was injured during the incident. Authorities said a bullet from a .45 caliber gun hit the back of Uring's head, causing his death. According to the victim's wife, Staff Sergeant Hazel Uring, her husband had been worried days before the incident because of posts in their group chat that upset him. She added that her husband had not received threats related to his police work, but there may have been issues connected to his role as president of their subdivision. The Homeowners Association is set to hold elections on the 14th of March, where he is seeking a 3rd term. A graft complaint has been filed against former Antique Governor Rodora J. Cadillo, 8 other officials, and a contractor for the alleged irregular construction of 531.2 million pesos Antique Government Center. Also charged before the Office of the Ombudsman were Provincial Accountant Esther Minia Julian, Provincial Treasurer Joyce N. Zuriaga, Provincial Engineer and Bids and Awards Committee Vice Chairman Inocencio P. Dajo, Jr., former Provincial Administrator and BAC Chairman Neri G. Durams, former BAC Vice Chairman Nicolásito S. Caloag, Jr., BAC Member Rachel B. Jindap, former BAC Member Rene B. Rio, former BAC Secretariat Bienvenido Inalas Jr., and the owners of F. Guerrilla Construction, Incorporated. The complaint against them was filed by John Sherwin Esposito and Wilson Geronimo. The complainant said that the Antique Government Center was situated on a 6.4-hectare agricultural land in Barangay Badiang, San Jose de Buena Vista town. They claimed that KDO formally requested the reclassification of the lot from agricultural to institutional use, but was denied in Sangguniang Bay in Resolution No. 54, Series of 2023, and the project was publicly shelved. However, the complainants alleged that F. Guerrilla Construction, Incorporation proceeded with the project and finished 30% by the 22nd of January, 2025. They also alleged that F. Guerrilla Construction, Inc. was initially paid 144,689,986 pesos as mobilization payment, then 386,572,719 pesos as first and partial progress payment on the 14th of May, 2025. Pasitz and Geronimo claimed that a work stoppage order was issued on the 20th of June, 2025 due to the absence of a building permit. On the 18th of February, 2026, They alleged that the office of the building official of San Jose de Buena Vista issued an official certification confirming that no building permit was ever approved for the antique government center. The core issue in this complaint is whether public funds may lawfully be disbursed for substantial structural works undertaken on a project site affected by unresolved land use classification issues, absence of building permit, issuance of a work stoppage order, and official confirmation that the building footprint lies within an irrigation service area. The complainants told the Ombudsman. They allege that the release of 531,262,705 pesos to F. Construction, Incorporated under these circumstances exposed the provincial government to potential audit disallowance, invalid expenditure, legal nullification of works undertaken, and financial loss arising from non-compliance with regulatory requirements. They also allege that the payment made to F. Construction, Incorporated, particularly the mobilization payment, was entered into the accounting records on the 14th of September, 2023, or 6.5 months after the SB resolution was issued that formally denied the request for land reclassification on the 27th of February, 2023. They added that the payment was done 6 months after Cordero said on the 1st of March, 2023 that the project had been shelved. The Sandiganbayan has affirmed a regional trial court's ruling that convicted liquidating officer Manuel A. Jalimeo for misappropriating 1.3 million pesos public funds of the Camarines Norte provincial government. The RTC-based indictment found Jalimeo guilty beyond reasonable doubt of violating Article 217 of the revised penal code for converting 1.3 million for his personal use in 2008. The trial court sentenced him to a jail term ranging from 6 years, 1 month and 10 days as minimum to 10 years, 2 months and 21 days as maximum, and to pay a fine of 1,360,294 pesos. He was also barred perpetually from holding public office. Jalimeo appealed the RTC's ruling before the Sandiganbayan. On top of affirming the conviction, the anti-graft court increased the maximum jail term to 11 years, 6 months and 21 days. It also ruled that the civil liability with payment of interest should be reckoned from the finality of the judgment until it is fully paid. In his appeal, Jalimeo claimed that the RTC committed reversible error in failing to dismiss the case against him due to inordinate delay in the termination of the preliminary investigation. He also argued against his conviction, which he claimed was wrong as the prosecution failed to prove all the elements of the crime charged. But the Sandiganbayan said there was no inordinate delay. The records of the case show that the formal complaint was filed before the office of the special prosecutor on the 26th of August, 2009, while the preliminary investigation was terminated with the filing of the criminal charge before the RTC on the 16th of September, 2010. It also said, the entire period of investigation covered approximately 1 year and 1 month, or almost 400 days. While the period may, at first glance, appear lengthy, this court is not persuaded that the same was attended by vexatious, capricious, or oppressive circumstances as contemplated under prevailing jurisprudence. At the same time, the anti-graft court found that the prosecution was able to prove the existence of all elements of malversation. It said the evidentiary documents and testimonies of the prosecution's witnesses all established that 1,361,083 pesos was received by Jalimeo and remained unremitted, therefore constituting the shortage for which he was held accountable. Given the strength of the prosecution's documentary and testimonial evidence, and that accused appellant Jalimeo failed to present evidence or failed to satisfactorily explain the shortage, the presumption remains unrebutted. Hence, a conviction against him is warranted, the Sandiganbayan ruled. The 42-page decision dated the 24th of February, 2026 was written by Associate Justice Lord of Villanueva with the concurrence of Associate Justices Sarah Jean T. Fernandez and Kevin Mas B. Vivero of the Court's 6th Division. That's all for this week. I'll see you next Friday with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.